Hello and welcome to our tutorial on the Han Solo card game, otherwise known as Sabacc. Now this was the game that was featured in Solo where Han Solo won the Millennium Falcon. So let's get started. We have our three different colors of cards. The blue cards are zeros, the green cards are positives, and the red cards are negative. Now the whole point of the game is to get as close to zero as possible. We start the game by deciding who's the dealer. You can do that by rolling dice and having the highest number be the dealer, and that person can be the dealer for this turn. The dealer will always go first, then the person to their left. The next person to be the dealer is going to be the person to the dealer's right. So we take the deck and we flip over the first card. So the one that says Star Wars is your draw pile. The one that has the -7 is the discard pile. Next, each player will draw a hand. Each player takes 3 turns per round. On your turn, what you can do is you can draw from the pile, in which you can discard if you want. Take the top card from the discard pile and discard if you want, or do nothing, and that means stand. The first round is pretty easy. Everyone either takes a card from the draw pile, from the discard pile, or stands. When every player is done taking a turn, the dealer rolls the dice. And if they are different, then we move on to the next turn. There are 3 turns, and on the 4th and final turn, that's when the round is over, and everyone shows their cards, and we find out who is the winner. But if these are the same, then everybody needs to discard their card. So either in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th round, everyone would need to count the amount of cards that they have and then take that many cards for that round. What's a winning hand? That's what you might ask. Remember, the name of the game is trying to get 0. So a +10 and a -10 and a 0 card is a winning hand. Another way to win is to get the most amount of cards closest to 0. So if we look at the top, it equals 0, and there's 5 cards, which is better than the bottom, which is 0, with 4 cards. So the top hand would win over the bottom hand. A good hand is getting as close to 0 with a positive score being better than a negative score. If we look at our top, it is a +1. If we look at our bottom, it is a -1. So our top hand would beat the bottom hand. In this situation, each one is +1. But since the top hand is 3 cards and the bottom hand is 2 cards, the top hand would beat the bottom hand. In this last situation, each hand equals 0. But the top hand that has 4s, since it is a higher number, will beat the bottom hand, which are 3s, which are a lower number. Your first round of play is going to look a little bit like this. 1 for the discard pile. Then the first person is going to go 1, 2, 3. Dealer rolls the dice. They're different, so the next round begins. So you can either discard or draw a card. So we're going to discard 1 and then go 1, 2. So right now we're at 0. So then the dealer, again, rolls the dice. It's the same. So the player will then take another 3 turns. So what we're going to do, since we're already at 0, is we're going to stand. So the dealer would take the dice for the 3rd round, they are the same. So that means you have to discard all of them and go 1, 2, 3, 4. So on the next turn, you would have the choice to either discard or draw. So we're going to discard the 8 and 6 and draw 1. Ooh. Now we're at 9. So dealer again gets the dice. So we are stuck at positive 9. So if more people were either more negative or more positive, then we would have that hand. Your next question might be, wow, you've got this fancy game. How am I supposed to play this at home? Well, you take your regular deck of cards and maybe another one of your board games. Take out the dice. And there you have a start. Converting the game over to a regular deck of cards is pretty easy. You've got your top row of green cards that will translate into the bottom of a black suit, and then you've got the red cards which will translate into a red suit. Now we've got 2 0 cards which equal the 2 joker cards. Now you'll notice that we have aces on the table. The aces count as 1. So you may ask yourself, what do I do with the rest of these? Well, your king, your queen, your jack, pretty much you just toss them aside. We're going to play a hand with our standard deck. 1 for the discard, and I'm going to draw 1, 2, and 3. Everybody would go. We're at a positive 15 right now. So dealer would roll. They're different. So you would either draw or discard. So 1, 2, I think I'll discard 5. So now we're at negative 6. Dealer again. Different. So we'll go again. So we've got 1. Then we'll discard these 2, because now we're at 0. So we draw, and then we discarded, so that's our 3 turns. So again, dealer. That was a 5. Again, so this turn, since it's a perfect 0, we're going to do a stand and then pass our turn. So the dealer, last time, and since it is a 5 and it's a 3 and a 2, they don't match. So our winning hand would be right there. Now that you know how to play the Han Solo card game, also known as Sabacc, feel free to play it with your family and friends while watching any Star Wars movie. So, signing off from the Parker Williams Library on this May the 4th, to quote Obi-Wan Kenobi, "The Force will be with you always."